Brand new CNN polls out of Nebraska and North Carolina, including in Nebraska out of Nebraska's 2nd congressional district. That's the famous blue dot, the one game-changing electoral vote that could be key to Vice President Kamala Harris's road to 270 if there's a 269 to 269 tie. Harris currently leads Trump by 11 percentage points in that blue dot. Here now, panel political experts. Karen, how important is the blue dot really, the Omaha dot?
It's very important. Look, we've got to have every single pathway to 270 open for as long as we can. We saw that, just before President Biden got out of the race. We had stopped talking about the South, and we were really talking about the blue wall in the Midwest. And now we've got, some different options. So particularly when you're 5 weeks to go, I'm losing track. I don't know. It's coming, this election
soon.
thing.
It's soon.
Right, it's very soon. You want to have as many pathways for as long as you can.
So let's turn to North Carolina, where it's a tie, according to this poll. Likely voters there are split. It's a state, 48%, 48% in this new poll. It's a state that only Obama has won on the presidential level in the last 44 years. In 2008, that was a wild year. Obama won Indiana, if you can believe it. Yeah, kids, look it up. Down ballot, Harris is being outperformed significantly by the candidate for governor, Josh Stein. He's the attorney general. He's popular. He also has the privilege of running against the lieutenant governor, Mark Robinson, by 17 points. You might remember a week and a day ago when Lieutenant Governor Robinson, it turned out, according to CNN reporting, had posted some unusual claims on a porn site several years ago. What's the obvious? Do you think obviously Republicans are competing on the presidential level for North Carolina? What about the governor's race? Is that just the Republicans are just like, never mind?
I think that's fair. I think what you look at all of these polls, they're still within the margin of error. And you like it or not, Trump doesn't really poll well historically. In fact, he outperforms his polls. He did in 2016. He did again in 2020. And so I think here we're looking really at kind of how close we can keep those numbers, and North Carolina is still very much within the margin of error.
And Karen, Vice President Harris visiting the border today, trying to work on one of her biggest vulnerabilities. It's not just hers. In fairness, Biden was vulnerable on the issue too. Their trust to handle immigration among North Carolina likely voters: 49% trust Trump, 38% trust Kamala Harris. It's an 11-point gap. That is significant, and it is a big issue for a lot of voters. Do you think this one trip to the border and this announcement of tough immigration policies that are kind of new to her, at least in the last 5 or 6 years, it will do anything?
But let's remember, we've been focused on the Biden-Harris record during the last 4 years. What a lot of people don't know about is her record as Attorney General of the state of California. She led a bipartisan delegation to Mexico to strategize on which she later prosecuted transnational gangs, guns, human trafficking, drug. So she actually has a record as a law enforcement official dealing with these issues, also dealing with our dreamers and comprehensive immigration reform. So part of this is, and remember, what this campaign's like, 100 days, several, it's a few weeks. So this is the right moment, I think, to go to the border, to not just talk about the current record, but to talk about what she would do, but also get people more familiar with her actual record as well as a senator, as an AG, and remind people she was a law enforcement official. She knows something about this. I think you're also going to hear her talk about the fact that Trump and Vance are not serious. They're not really putting forward serious proposals to try to solve the problem, whereas she's actually trying to put forward comprehensive, practical, pragmatic solutions.
Michaela, J.D. Vance, the vice presidential nominee for the Republican senator from Ohio, he's going to campaign in Pennsylvania tomorrow. He's going to be joined at a town hall by a fellow named Lance Wallnau. Lance Wallnau is a self-proclaimed Christian nationalist. He's a big evangelical influencer. He's a Trump supporter. I want you to listen to how Wallnau has described Vice President Harris.
She can look presidential, and we'll go to this later. That's the seduction of what I would say is witchcraft. That's the manipulation of imagery that creates an impression contrary to the truth, but it seduces you into seeing it. So that spirit, that occult spirit, I believe, is operating on her. When you're up against that, the good news is, if we're going to go full tilt Pentecostal, Jezebel may be the spirit you're up against.
I was just waiting for Jezebel. I don't know about you. As soon as that clip started, I'm like, I know a Jezebel's coming. Look, I wouldn't even ask you about this, but J.D. Vance is actually appearing at an event in Pennsylvania with this fellow.
I don't know who this person is. Never heard of him before.
Well, I just told you he's an evangelical influencer and
so maybe that's my fault for not being incredibly aware of him and his political dialogue. What he's speaking to, and I think what the voters are seeing, is that there is a history here of rhetoric, of Kamala Harris continually trying to act like she is moving to the middle, continually trying to take positions that she has not taken in her record. And when you compare her rhetoric with her record, they are diametrically opposed in many areas. And what we were just talking about on immigration and the border is one of those things, 11-point difference where Republicans are trusted more. She is continuously saying, I'm going to be strong on the border. Well, she's had 3 years to have that administration take some steps, and she's failed to do so.
You know, it sounds so much more reasonable when you say it. Than when you invoke Jezebel and witchcraft.
Yeah, and anytime you're invoking witchcraft, I think you're in trouble.
Unless you're Sinatra and you're singing the song Witchcraft.
Okay.
One last thing, a new message is obtained by the Washington Post. J.D. Vance was quite critical of Trump's first term. He wrote in February of 2020, quote, Trump has just so thoroughly failed to deliver on his economic populism, accepting a disjointed China policy. And in June 2020, Vance said, I think Trump will probably lose. CNN has reached out to the Vance campaign for comment to verify the authenticity of those direct messages that the Washington Post uncovers. Now, J.D. Vance has said that Trump's economic agenda and successes as president transformed him from a never-Trumper in 2016 to a big supporter in 2020. But these messages suggest that the conversion came later than 2020.
Yes, indeed. And so if we're going to talk about hypocrisy here, I would say that J.D. Vance's hypocrisy is very well documented. I mean, he was diametrically opposed, and then, as a craven politician does, he seemed to have abandoned all sorts of positions to meld himself into a VP nominee for Donald Trump. Versus what I would say with Kamala Harris, you know, you come from California, you have one perspective. You are VP for 4 years, you see a different perspective. I mean, and she has talked about her values remain the same, but how we get there can change.
Thanks to both of you for being here.